Hello, receiving students and sixes. Thank you. Take your seat. Now, receiving students and sixes. Before we go to our today's lesson, we will correct one of the exercises that we did in our last lesson on simplest form. So, one of the exercise, we did not correct it. Now we will correct that exercise. So, exercise 1C, we already corrected exercise A and B. Now we will correct exercise C before we go to our today's lesson. Now, exercise was to simplify the fractions to its simplest form. And the fraction was 5/20. Students, please, what is the simplest fraction, or what is the simplest fraction of 5/20? I know you have already done the exercise as your homework, so let's quickly give the answers. Or receiving students, you can give your answers to your teacher. The simplest fraction for 5/20. For the model class, let's have or. Or, what is the simplest fraction of 5/20?
Five.
5. Students, or has said the simplest fraction for 5/20 is 5. Is it correct? Or what do you mean by saying 5? Is it the number that you are trying to divide with the denominator, numerator and the denominator?
Yes.
Or, okay, or has come up with the number that you will divide with the numerator and the denominator. So what's the number what is that number, students? 5. So 5 is the what? Highest common factor. Now, if you divide 5 with the numerator and the denominator, what is the simplest fraction will you get for 5/20? Robert? Robert says 1/4. Is he correct? Yes. So, the simplest fraction for 5/20 is 1/4, which the highest common factor that is used to divide the numerator and the denominator is 5. So students, when we are dividing or when we are simplifying fractions to its simplest form, we divide the numerator and the denominator by the highest common factor. Please remember that, students, when you are simplifying fractions. You divide it by the highest common factor, the denominator and the numerator and the denominator. So students, on the screen, that is the working out to the exercise we are correcting in this lesson. Now students, our lesson topic for today is on adding like fractions. Now students, before we go into our today's lesson, I would like to ask you a question. And the question is on the screen. What does it mean, adding like fractions? That's our lesson topic for today, students. So what does it mean, adding like fractions? Now students, adding like fractions simply means we are adding, in today's lesson, we'll be adding fractions with the same denominator. So that's what adding like fractions means for today's lesson. That's the lesson topic for today, adding like fractions. And it simply means adding fractions with the same denominator. I'll give you some examples. Okay, we have two examples there. You can see 1/6 plus 2/6, or 4/4 plus 1 over 4. You can see all the denominators. All the denominators are same. So in today's lesson, we will be adding fractions with the same denominator. Now students, we will use the two examples, 1 over 6 plus 2 over 6 and 4 over 4 plus 1 quarter in today's lesson as an example to add fractions with the same denominator. Now there are certain steps that we will apply when we are adding fractions with the same denominator. We will go through step by step or apply step by step in each of the examples that we will use. So let us start off with the first example, which is 1 over 6 plus 2 over 6. Steps in adding like fractions. Step number 1. List the fractions to add. So what is the example that I have just shown you? So the first example is 1 over 6 plus 2 over 6. The first step says that list the fractions to add. So we have already listed the fractions. We are adding 1 over 6 plus 2 over 6. Second step says, what does the second step say, students? So let's check the denominators of these two fractions that we are trying to add. Are they the same? Yes. Okay, they are same, so we will leave the denominators as they are. And step number 3, write down the denominator and add the numerators. So we write down the denominator, which is 6, and the numerators are 1 plus 2. We add the numerators. 1 plus 2? 3. 3 over 6. Now students, what does the last step says? What is the last step? Okay, the last step says that when we are adding fractions, we need to simplify fractions or change any improper fractions to mixed numbers only where necessary. Now in adding fractions with the same denominator, some fractions can be simplified to the simplest form. Others, when they are given in improper fraction, they need to be changed to mixed numbers. So let us look at this example A here. Is this fraction here an improper fraction? No. It is not an improper fraction. Can we simplify this fraction to its simplest form? Yes. Yes or no? Yes. Yes, we can simplify this fraction to its simplest form. So 3 over 6. If we simplify this fraction to its simplest form, how do we simplify it? Recall back to your previous lesson on simplest form. In our last lesson, we looked at simplest form, that simplifying fraction to its simplest form. What is the steps? The first step, our previous lesson, to simplify fraction, we divide the numerator and the denominator with the highest common factor. So, what is the highest common factor for the numerator and the denominator of this fraction. Let's have Jordan.
Three.
Students, Jordan is going to tell us the highest common factor that can divide evenly in this fraction.
3.
3, very good. So class, 3 divided by 3 is equals to 1. And 6 divided by 3 is equals to 2. So 3 over 6 to its simplest fraction is 1 over 2 or half. So what is the final answer receiving students and 6 is? 1 6 plus 2 6 is equals to, after simplifying, 3 over 6 to the simplest fraction is equals to 1 over 2. So this is our final answer from the addition of 1 over 6 plus 2 over 6. Now students, our next example. The next example will not be the same as the first example. It is another example that I would like to give. Now students, in here we follow the same steps again. First we list down the fractions that we are going to add. And then we check the denominators. Check the denominators. Are they the same? Yes. They are the same. So we leave as it is. We don't make any changes to the denominators. And then step number 3, we write down the denominators and then add the numerators. Four plus 1? 5 over 5 over 4. Now students, let us look at the fraction here. Can we simplify this fraction? We can simplify this fraction by changing the improper fraction. This fraction is an improper fraction. So we need to change this improper fraction to a mixed number. In here we simplify the fraction to half. In this example, this time the answer is given in improper fraction. So we need to change 5 over 4 to mixed number. So students, what is the mixed number of this improper fraction? Minol?
One quarter.
1 and 1. Very good, class. The improper fraction for 5 over 4 is equals to 1 and 1 quarter. So class, the improper fraction of this fraction here is 1 and 1 quarter. So I would like to show you a diagram of how this mixed number how this mixed number came from this improper fraction. Now students, if you can recall back to our lesson on improper fraction, just to show you a way of changing an improper fraction to a mixed number. So from our previous lesson on improper fraction, the improper fraction of 5 over 4, the improper fraction which is 5 over 4, there are 4 equal parts. 4 equal parts of the improper fraction 5 over 4. And the diagram of it is 4 over 4 plus 1 quarter. Now that diagram of 4 over 4 plus 1 quarter is equal to 1 and 1 quarter. So the mixed number is 1 and 1 quarter. So I'm just showing you how you can use diagram to change improper fraction to a mixed numbers. But our friend Minol has come up with the answer 1 and 1 quarter. 1 and 1 quarter is the mixed number, or is the mixed number of the improper fraction 5 over 4. So students, what I have shown you are 2 different examples when you are adding fractions with the same denominator. Sometimes you will simplify fractions. Sometimes you will try to change the improper fraction to a mixed number. So be mindful of these examples when you are doing your exercise. Now let's move on to our exercise. Students, you have 3 exercises given. I would like you to do A and B, and C, you do it as your homework. So exercise A is 5 over 9 plus 2 over 9, and B, 4 over 8 plus 2 over 8. And your homework exercise, exercise C, 5 over 7 plus 3 over 7. Some fractions, when you add, you come up to the answer is already, the fraction is already in their simplest form. So don't force to simplify fractions. Students, when you are doing your working out, the example which I have showed you on the whiteboard, you can use that examples, okay? Try to show your working out in that manner. The examples which I have gone through with you on the whiteboard, A and B. So when you are adding fractions, follow the example. Laka, where's your answer? Laka, are you willing to present exercise 2 on the board? Okay, Laka, you write all exactly what you have wrote. Huh? Okay, finish. Okay, students, we will correct the exercise A and B. For the receiving students, you will present your work to the class. Receiving teacher, please select volunteers to go up to the board and write there or show their working out on the 2 fractions exercise on A and B. So for model class, we have Laka. Laka will do exercise A. She will show all her working out. So please, Laka, when you're writing on the board, please make sure you write it big and clear for everyone to see what you have written. Okay, we will have Jordan for exercise B. Jordan. Thank you, Laka. Okay, Jordan. Jordan, write it big and clear. Turn the marker around. Flat. That's it. Thank you. Thank you, Jordan and Laka. Receiving students, I hope you have given your answers already. Now let's check your answers. Teacher, please cross-check your answers with what we have on the board presented by the students from the model class. Okay, we have A. Laka's answer, Laka has showed all the working out, and the final answer is 7/9. Class, let us look at the answer. Can we simplify this answer? No, we cannot simplify this answer because it is already in its simplest form. So 7/9 is the answer of adding 5/9 plus 2/9. Now, receiving students and 60s, please, one thing that I would like to remind you all, when you are showing your working out, make sure whatever bars, like this one, the equal sign, you see this equal sign? This equal sign must be same in line with the fraction bar. So, you can see my example from my example, Laka and the rest of the students. If you have done the same mistake, please put your bar sign equal or equal sign in line with the fraction bar when you are adding. Okay, let's go to the next exercise. B, 4/8 plus 2/8 is equals to 4 plus 2/8, which is 6/8. And our friend Jordan has simplified this fraction because he saw that this fraction is not in its simplest form. So he further simplified by using the common factor, which is 2, highest common factor, which is 2. So he divided the highest common factor 2 with the numerator and the denominator, and got the fraction which is 3/4, which is 3/4. 3/4. So the simplest fraction of this addition of this fraction 6/8 is 3/4. And that is the final answer of this fraction 4/8 plus 2/8. Now receiving students and sixes. In today's lesson, what are the key areas that we looked at? What are the key areas? Or what did you learn in today's lesson? It can be a word or a phrase. Yes, let's have our friend there.
Adding the fraction.
Okay, we looked at adding fractions. Our friend said adding fractions, but what type of fractions? Yes? Receiving students, our friend said adding fractions, but what type of fractions? Adding what type of fractions?
Improper fraction.
Okay, our friend says improper fraction. Let's help her out. Thank you. Let's help her out. Yes, Minol?
Adding fraction like.
Adding fractions like, or adding like fractions. Adding like fractions. In other words, adding fractions with the same denominator. You can see, adding fractions with the same denominator. And in the process of adding, while adding fractions with the same denominator, we also simplified fractions. And we also changed the improper fractions to mixed numbers. So students, in today's lesson we looked at those particular areas, or the main area that we covered was to add fractions with the same denominators. And simplified fractions, or changed any improper fraction to mixed numbers only where necessary. Now students, our key phrase for today's lesson is on. Can everybody read the key phrase for today's lesson, class? Same denominator. Okay, same denominators. And our next lesson topic will be on adding unlike fractions. Receiving teachers, our next lesson topic will be on unlike fractions. With that, receiving students and sixes, thank you very much for your participation.